Welcome, everybody. This is Anthony Barrow. I serve as Moodle's plugins facilitator, and am happy to welcome you to this presentation of iMoot 2015, and for your participation in this iMoot is greatly appreciated. We have with us Alireza, who has a background as an English teacher and experience with type psychology, or an interest in type psychology, who's going to present on Moodle and personality types. And I myself have a background in counseling, and so I'm very much looking forward to this presentation. Thank you, Alireza, for being with us, and we look forward to hearing your words of wisdom.
Okay, thank you, Anthony, too. Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to have you all here in my second presentation in iMoot. And it's my pleasure to have you all, Anthony, as a counselor here. Today I'm going to talk about Moodle and personality types, which was an interesting phenomena for me at the first time that I was introduced to both Moodle and the personality type concept. So first of all, let's just run a test on my voice, because in my first presentation I encountered some voice problems. Do you hear me clearly? Please write in the chat box. Okay, thank you all. I just turned on my webcam for a second. It seems I have my webcam. So let's start the presentation. I was wondering about how a presentation, and at the end I ended up deciding to use this picture as the first step. Please look at the picture and tell me what is your first impression that you would take by just looking at it. And let's turn it into a short answer mode. What is a word or a phrase that you can explain that impression for me? Please write it in the chat box as well. What about difference, Jim? Is it good, bad? Impossible, dream? Anthony, it is possible, because I know that there are some countries with an educational system just like, so it is possible. It is not a dream. Of course, yes, Tartar. You're not the same. Okay, I'm sure that you have seen this picture in different domains, and it is possible to use it in different fields as well as the education. But in education, it is kind of clear. You know that nowadays we can't say that there's no difference between the people that we train, between our students, between our learners in an e-learning system or like that. But there are still some systems that think this. There are teachers that they think that they can treat different students in the same way. They can assess them, their students in the same way, and they encourage them in the same way, but not correct. And I know you are all agreed with me that uh, there should be a difference in what we present in a class, just like the difference which exists between the students. Talking about classroom, we have to think about a tailored content. I mean, a tailored content on basis of the differences which exist between the learners and also the teachers as well. Because I think most of you would be teachers and you are aware of learning styles and teaching styles. The problem is in some classrooms, the content which is presented is not tailored at all, or maybe it is tailored on basis of some parts of the students. And the worst case is the content is designed on basis of the teachers' uh, certain teaching style or even learning style. But there are some classrooms that the teacher is used method or a strategy consciously or unconsciously, which both are good, which caters for different students in the classroom. What I wonder is uh, if we want to talk about efficiency, which is our goal in every kind of classroom, being a real or an online classroom, or like what we use in Moodle. If we want to get to that goal, an awareness, even an awareness of the knowledge like this, like type psychology that we are going to talk about today, be a great help for us to reach that efficiency. And that's the point that Moodle comes in and starts to play a role of a platform that we can apply that knowledge of and turn it into kind of applied science, and we can get the best out of it. So this is an opportunity. You can use type psychology in your physical or in your real classroom, but Moodle is or some other learning systems, online learning systems, are the ones that give you the opportunity to use that kind of applied to reach the goal of efficiency. And that let's start with it. Are you familiar with terms like analytical psychology or types or psychological types, maybe MBTI? So if you are already familiar with it, please write in the chat box. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So Anthony, would you please answer my another question? Do you believe that using that knowledge of MBTR or other terms would help us get some classrooms or in our e-learning forms? Mm-hmm. Sense, do you think it would help us? Uh-huh. As well as extroverts, I think. I will talk about forums later. Mm-hmm. So, and about the code theory, John Mark, what do you know about it, about the code theory? Code theory? Mhm. So, if it's a close relationship between the different parts of code theory and the MBTI that we are going to talk about it later. So it's good. Let's go with it. The ones who were not familiar with the term, let's have a little bit of introduction to the ones influenced this theory. The first one at the top, Carl Gustav, he's a psychiatrist and a psychologist who believe in categorize people into different categories regarding their source of energy, decide to perceive data from the world, and the way they prefer to decide about that data. After him, an American mother and daughter called Isabel Briggs Myers and Catherine Cook, who were interested in people and their lives. This to follow the work of Jung and to turn it into something applicable to the lives of normal people. So they ended up developing a questionnaire called MBTI, which stands for Myers-Briggs. Let me show you that. Okay, stands for Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is MBTI, and it is used in different now in industrial environments, in organizational ones, in every kind of workplace. You can use it in your social relationships, in your families, etc. And terms like analytical psychology and psychological types and personality types and typology and some other terms are all related to the theory. But let's talk about the theory a little. The first category that Jung believed that you can divide people into was about the source of energy. It talks about which kind of source do you tend to use for getting energy or spending your energy in. The dichotomous way is that you can be an extroverted person, an extroverted person, or an introverted person. But we don't want to talk that. We prefer you when you use your extroverted or you when you use your introverted approach. I have to state here that you can't be just extroverted or just introverted. All people would use their extroversion or introversion, because without both of them, you can't survive in the world. But you prefer to use one of them in most cases. That's what explains how you are an extroverted person or an introverted person. So the extroverted people are the ones who get their energy or tend to spend their energy in the outer world, which is the world of people, things, or even activities around them in the world. And the introverted people are the ones who tend to use or spend their energy, and also they get the energy from the inner world, which is the world of theories, imagination, thinking, and like that. So, about the different meanings of words. If you look up in a dictionary for the word extroversion or extroverted person, you will see some synonyms like an outgoing person, a friendly person, a sociable person, or like that. It is not what Jung meant while using the term extroversion. And for introversion, it's even worse. When you look up in a dictionary for the introverted person, what is the synonyms that you think you would find for? Do you have any synonyms for an introverted person in the dictionary? Just write it in the chat box. Oh, absolutely. That's the first synonym that comes to mind when talking about an introverted person. But none of these terms are meaning of introverted person when we talk in type psychology. Of course, yes, Melanie. The introverted person is someone who tends to go inside him or herself for just getting the energy. They tend to think they need an alone time to get the energy. They can use their extroversion in different environments just like the extroverted people, but there are some times that they need to be alone and they need to use their introversion. So that's just a preference. You can prefer extroversion or prefer introversion, but you use both. Okay. The second category, again as a dichotomy, is sensing or intuition. You can even prefer sensing or prefer intuition. That's the way that you decide or prefer to perceive the data around you. Jung believed that people are categorized into two parts, like sensors, the people who decide or they prefer to receive the data through their five senses. And those are the most reliable means of receiving information. While the intuitive people are the ones who they believe in, like we can say, they sixth sense, and they are kind of imaginative people. The third part is when you receive, you have to do something about it. To decide, you have to judge it, and you have to wrap up things at the last step. So this part is about making decisions. The dichotomous way here says that people can be thinkers or feelers. The first one talks about the one who can say they use their head while making decisions. Feeling people, they are the ones who they use their heart while making decisions. But it doesn't mean that if you are a thinker, you don't have feelings, or if you are a feeler, you use your head at all, like that. So, talking about feelers and thinkers, they say that are the people who are objective people, whilst the feeling people are called subjective people. Thinkers make decisions based on facts. They use they tend to judge situations at the first step, and they use logic. But it doesn't mean that feelers don't use logic. Both can use logic, but the type of logic that they use are different. The feelers are kind of like some values. It can be personal or related to other people. And so they decide to make decisions on basis of their feelings and how their decisions of the people around them or even around them. There is another category that it's been added by American mother and daughter that I talked about. They called it a kind of lifestyle because that's the approach that you choose against the outer world. It is the way that other people would see you like that. It talks about perception or decision part. It says that if you tend to use your perceptions, which is your sensing or intuition at the first step, or your decision part, which is your thinking or feeling at the first step. Judging people, which you have to be careful about the name, again, it doesn't mean judgmental at all. Judging people are the ones who like making decisions, wrap up things, and then go to the other data or the other problem that they are facing. While perceiving people are the ones who decide to keep their options open. So they want to be they want to they want to they don't want to be structured. The judgers or the judging people decide to have a kind of structure, and they follow it, they stick to it. But perceiving people, you can't put them in a structure. They want to be spontaneous. They want to opt between the different choices. Again, I have to state that this is not a session that I can teach you type psychology or give you a complete information about that. It takes at least, I think, more than 8 hours to talk about still preliminary concepts and terms about the type psychology or the MBTI in a real workshop. But here I just want to talk about it as a starting point, and I hopefully could convince you to go for it and start studying it and look information about it. At the end, with that question explained, you can read a 4-letter type, which is called your personality type or your MBTI type, and that you can choose between each dichotomy. Like, for example, for me, I ended up being an INTJ. Shows that between introversion and extroversion, I tend to use introversion in most cases, which is this I here. And between intuition and sensing, I tend to use intuition in most cases. Between thinking and feeling, I prefer thinking, and between judging and perceiving, I prefer judging. The good thing about MBTI is that it doesn't force you to be like this. There are some other measures, others we can say that they put you exactly in kind of stereotyping box, and you can't you help yourself out of that box. But MBTI says that you are completely free to choose your preference. Like that, when you get the results of that questionnaire, for example, like INTJ, then you are free to decide if it is correct about you or not, because of so there are lots of reasons that we can talk about them right now. But you can say, I think I'm not an introvert person. I think I'm totally an extroverted person. So it says just put an E instead of I here, so you are an ENTJ person. And furthermore, you can have some characteristics about other types of people. You can be ENTJ, but you can have characteristics of an extroverted person. So it is completely on base of your decisions. So do you have any questions till now about psychology or the MBTI? Yes. We have, for example, ENFJ types with introverted characteristics. That's a type. Maybe you were an introverted person, and that's because of the influence of your family, because of your friends around. You have changed, or you have taken something like a mask as an extroverted person, but you are truly introverted. We have a true type. There happens a kind of falsification in the MBTI because of the answers that you give to the questions in that questionnaire. Your true type would be missed, and so you are the person who decides if an extroverted person or an introvert. But it is also possible that you are an extroverted person, but you can have some characteristics of introverted people as well. Tara, it is not about percentage. When you get the results of that questionnaire, there are some numbers in it with a kind of percentage numbers, but there are not percentage about degree that you are, for example, example, an introverted person. They just say that how, to what extent you could be sure that you are an extroverted person or introverted person on base of the answers that you uh, give to those questions in that questionnaire. But yes, of course, you can have lots of the characteristics of all these types here, and it is said that you have to go for it. For example, if you are an introverted person, you have to try to improve your extroverted preferences as well. You have to gain the extroverted qualities as well, because you are a person and you need those qualities in your life. Okay, let's talk about you're welcome. Let's talk about the education system. When you talk about education, a learning and teaching process, you can talk about communication. When talking in a class, talking about the classroom, you have to first communicate with your learners to make that report that we use in teaching, and in order to motivate your students, you have to first make that content. Then, in order to keeping them with you, uh, even in a real and physical class, you have to motivate them first. You have some kind of content that you have to design that content. You have to present that content, and you have to give them comments. Then you have to assess them, and of course, you have to treat different with different kind of treatments. You have to interact with them, and interact and some other concepts. These are all the aspects that you can apply type psychology. Let's say something about each of these. Making communication. You know that difference, so yeah, you decide how you have to treat them, how you have to behave with them. So, for example, if you are talking with a thinking person, you have to use kind of language that you can't use it with a feeling person, and like that. So you can apply all that these different. And let's talk about e-learning a bit. At first, they said that e-learning systems are the systems that you can just put up some contents online and make more people access. So, good and positive characteristics of e-learning systems at first, the more was that more people could access to that content, and that was it. So after that, they decided they can kind of customize that for different people. They were aware of different learning styles, different teaching styles, and like that. So they decided to customize that content. The problem was they couldn't fully customize that content for different. We have different learning styles, but it is not reasonable to design different contents for each learning style and put them online. So there has to be a way to design something like a process for seeing which contents should be applied to which learner. Then they decided to add the intelligence to that, and so at the end there were some guidelines for content designers to how decide a person's learning style and then apply the. So Moodle was an appropriate framework that could give you that opportunity to first design different contents and then apply that content to the other person by using strategies. So they were all looking for a practical solution doing that. So when talking about Moodle, we can talk about participation. How could you use the knowledge of type psychology for making the participation those people? You can remember the difference between extroverted people and introverted people. How could it be different for them about participation? Do you have any ideas? Sorry for that. So how do you think that participation is different for introverted people and extroverted people in an e-learning system like Moodle? Can you hear me? Okay, how do you think it's different for introverted people and extroverted people regarding participation in online courses? Okay, good point, Anthony. Thanks for that. So that's the point. That's a very good place for introverts because they need a kind of wait time when you ask them questions. Stay more time reading words, voice. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Thank you for your comments. Yes, some people say that e-learning systems would be a kind of in favor of introverted people, and extroverted people would prefer in a physical classroom, real room, and doing real activities. But I want to say that, of course, yes, that would be a very good place for introverted people because uh, uh, they can uh, they can have whatever they need in favor of their introversion, as you said in the chat box. But you can add some kind of flavor to different activities in Moodle to cater for the extroversion preference of extroverted people as well. For example, forums can be a good place for extroverted people to take part. You can ask them to do a kind of interaction with their friends, put them in some different groups, or you can even ask them to do some physical activities, and then they enter the result of those activities into forums, and you can assess them on basis of that. You can cater for extroverted people as well, but that would be a good place for introverted people. You know, there are lots of lots of introverted students who are being ignored in real classrooms, and they are labeled with with terms like shy students or reserved students, and they would lose a part of those kind of classrooms. But here, they finally could find a very good place. Okay, the next thing, you know, one of the features that they say about online courses is being self-paced. We don't force students to complete a course in a certain time. Maybe sometimes you do that, but you have the option to give them the authority to use different timings. Regarding judging and perceiving students, this is very important about them because judging people are they kind of having a sense of time. They are very advanced timing. They can make a list are going to do and follow that. But perceiving people are kind of different. They don't want to be limited. Andy, it is not bad. You can choose different approaches on basis of the content, on basis the or seeking in that course. But what I want to say is that Moodle gives you the option of designing something for your learners and not just treat them in one manner. Uh, for example, let's talk about it later on in just a minute. I'll talk about this. Wait for that. Regarding these instructions, uh, if you can, what we said about intuitive and sensing people, we can say that sensing people are looking for clear, to the point, and precise instructions. So in Moodle, give them what they want. You can have kind of different instructions and give them the opportunity to opt between the instructions. So for intuitive people who they tend to have the big picture at first, you can design two different questions and let them choose what they want. So that's what I want to state about using type psychology in e-learning systems. It is customized and it gives you the capability of customizing your course. So that's what helps you cater for different learning styles. And regarding the cognitive core about different in MBTI and in that four-letter the two middle letters, like for example in an INTJ person, the NT part is called the cognitive core. It has something to do with you with the way that you perceive the world around you and decide about what you perceive from the world. So it is your cognitive core, and people with different cognitive cores are kind of different in perceiving the world and analyzing the data from the world. For example, being an NT person, just like me, I'm an INTJ. They say that, for example, you can be a logical person because of the T in my code, and you are an analytical, intellectual, inquisitive. You like to be independent, and you're kind of complex. This is because of the dynamic quality of the type code, and it is related to my cognitive core, which are the two middle letters in my type. Engagement is also an important part because uh, you know that one of the most important things that you have considered while you are running an online course is how you attract different people or different learners to come into your course and take part in your course. But the other challenging things is how can you keep them with you until the end of the course? Uh, so that's something which I want to talk about it in the engagement part. If you cater for the differences in different people, even if they don't know anything about it, they feel that they can reach whatever they want, so they will be with you. For example, for thinking people, they are just looking for challenge. They want to solve problems. So if you put kind of problem things in your course, you can make sure you can keep them during the course. Or, for example, for feeling people, they are look kind of encouragement, but you have to use kind of sentences like, uh, for example, very well, you've done a good answer, something like this, which is not uh, that kind of attractive for thinking people. So using, being aware of these differences and using the type psychology, you can be sure that you can make them engage with your course. The course design is obvious that this feature of online which gives the teacher or the content designers for designing different courses. That's one of the most important things that you can consider when you want to use type psychology. For example, you can use lessons to make like a scenario for your different learners to opt between two pathways to go with the course. Asking some questions, you can guide them through different. One of the other parts of Moodle which I'm so interested about is conditional activities. For making that scenario that I talked about, you can use conditional activities. Have you used conditional activities before in your courses? I have some ideas. Mhm. Okay, good. So you know you're all familiar that you can make that scenario using conditional activities, which is a very good feature in Moodle. You can use SCORM as well if you are familiar with. And you can use badges. This is something very good for both thinkers and feelers because if you pay enough attention in designing the badges, you can cater for the feeling people and giving badges itself caters for thinkers as well. Okay, and then I'm curious if you want to consider creating groups in a course and presenting the materials in different ways. Is that important? Yes, exactly. It's a good way that I use it in designing courses. And you can apply it into your real classes too, because we don't want actually to put them in different groups when we're on a physical or real classroom, but you can have a kind of less designed lesson plan that you can give them a content that caters for both. For example, feeling and thinking people. You can just choose between those different parts of your lesson plan while applying it into a physical classroom. But in Moodle, yes, you can have different pathways and you can guide different people through different pathways, and that's a very good. Comfortable for, and what do you what maybe not as comfortable? Uh-huh. Okay, you can use quizzes and labels for giving different feedbacks to different people. It is important concerning thinkers and feelers about their different response that I talked about. Uh, as we talked about, you can use forums for both introverted and extroverted people, and you can use chats for again for both introverted and extroverted people. Workshop place for concerning about the extroversion preference of people because you can put them in an environment like just like the physical environment. And the list is endless. We can talk about every activity and resources and even different plugins and different blocks in Moodle and apply the knowledge of type to it. What I wanted to do here was um, just convincing you that even have a look at the content of type psychology and concepts would make you more efficient in your classrooms, being a physical classroom or an online e-learning system. The rest is up to you. If you start using it, as it happened for me, then you will automatically continue using it in your real life, in your social relationships, in your family, with your children, with your wife, in your workplace, and then seeing the results would be uh, something as a motivation for you to continue your way using this knowledge. So I hope I could be successful doing that. I don't know if now you are agree with me that having or just being aware of this knowledge would be something very helpful for us as teachers or content designers or even administration site administrators. Uh, uh, no, I have to state something here. Be careful about what we talked about today. Uh, this is just like a knife. You can use it in a right way, in a proper way, or if you misuse it, it would be very dangerous for you and also the people around you, for your students or friends or uh, uh, everyone around you. Uh, be careful about the contents on the internet. If you search for the term MBTI on the internet, you will find loads of different kind of information about it, and not all of them are uh, reliable. Yes, that's one of the pitfalls that we have to be careful about it. Normally, we tend to use something as normal, which uh, is the same as our type. For example, as if you are an extroverted person, or if you tend to use your extroversion, you think that everything which is in favor of the extroversion would be a normal good thing. Um, oh, thank you. I'm happy if it is like that. Uh, so let me give you some website names. capt.org, uh, Myers Briggs, dot again org, p dot. I'm not sure if it is net or or org, but if you Google it, you will find it very quickly. So these are some of the reliable sources that you can use for doing more research on that. Thank you, Tyler. And Melanie, about not being comfortable with the type, I'm not agree. There are some introverts who end up teaching because if you like teaching, if you love teaching, no matter uh, what your type is, you would and you can be successful in that. But exactly the thing that I'm stating here is uh, if you are of who you are, if you are aware of your strengths and stretches, then you can amplify your powerful parts and you can develop the parts that you are missing. So it helps you through your life, and it doesn't matter if the teacher is introverted or extroverted, and it doesn't have anything to do with his or her relationship with his or her students. If you have the knowledge, if you are aware of uh, this knowledge as a tool, as an aid, as a mean in your classrooms, uh, it doesn't matter what kind of what is your type or the type of your students. How boys get an idea about their type. Of course, it is possible, but the website that you mentioned, humanmetrics.com, it is a good site and it is you can use it. But again, in my opinion, the result center is not as important as the knowledge that you have to gain at the first step. Because I explained that after the result of the questionnaire, you are free to choose a different preference in every dichotomy, in every category that I talked about. So do not focus all of that questionnaire, because answering those questions needs some knowledge. You have to be aware the different meanings of the words that is used in that questionnaire. Uh, the most reliable questionnaire that you can use is the one that is in these sites that I show you here, because you can find the questionnaire in these sites, and it's not free. You have to pay for it, but these are the most reliable questions you can use. Welcome. Sorry if I missed some of your comments during the session. I'm trying to read them and give the proper answer right now. But if there is still questions about the type psychology and how to use it in Moodle, this is my email. And do not hesitate to contact me through this email. I will answer all the questions as far as I can. Thank you all for your time, and I will be still here answering the questions.
Well, I'd like to thank you for a wonderful presentation. I found it very provocative in terms of helping me to think about the needs of my students and the perspectives that they come from, and how I can better adapt and use some of the things within Moodle to better cater to what's more natural for them. And so a great presentation, and thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. Next on the schedule, we have a presentation by Tim Hunt on a live demo of how to fix a bug in Moodle. And then Carlos is doing a presentation on the Smart Lesson plugin, expanding the lesson resources potential in Moodle. So folks are welcome to participate in that. But again, thank you so much for a great presentation. And I was glad that the audio, for the most part, was able to keep up with us today. So thanks again.
Thank you too, and thank you for supporting me here in this presentation.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.